As the name suggests, an interim budget is just an interim arrangement. The full budget will come once the new government is formed after getting the people's mandate. Interim budget includes the vote on account to ensure that the government's expenditures like salaries, pension, etc. are not affected. As per convention, an interim budget is expected to refrain from making big announcements of schemes or taxation measures, but elections at times play tricks on politicians. Although Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has assured that she will not fall for it. In December last year, she had told a gathering of industry leaders that the interim budget will not have any spectacular announcement. While we will come to know about that in the next few hours, what does the history tell us? When was the first time when the interim budget started straying from the well-trodden path? The move of making big announcements in the interim budget gained traction during the Atal Bihari Vajpayee regime. In the 2004 interim budget, the then Finance Minister Jaswant Singh had announced measures such as extension of the Antyodaya scheme from 15 million families to 20 million. He also announced a merger of 50% dearness allowance of central government employees with basic pay and had halved the stamp duty on central government papers and reduced customs duty on free baggage at international airports from 50% to 40%. But the NDA couldn't script a comeback and UPA came to power. 5 years later, in 2009, Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee tabled the interim budget and he extended the earlier reduction in central excise duty rates by 4 percentage points beyond March 31, 2009, as well as reduced the service tax rates to 10% from 12%. In 2014, the then Finance Minister P. Chidambaram also announced excise duty cuts for the automobile industry. The duty was slashed from 12% to 8% on small cars, motorcycles, scooters, and commercial vehicles. There was also an excise duty reduction on mobile phones. The incumbent NDA under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi also used the interim budget to make grand announcements with the elections in sight. The then Finance Minister Piyush Goyal introduced the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi PM Kisan scheme to extend direct income support at the rate of 6,000 rupees per year to farmer families having cultivable land up to 2 hectares. Social security coverage for the unorganized sector was also announced. So given these past instances and trends, can today's budget be expected to adhere to the conventions of an interim budget?
Normally, interim budgets are meant only for 4 months of the next financial year. If you look at the past, there's a mix. Some governments have used it for populism, some have not really used. So it's a combination of both. But my feeling is that if you look at the current situation, now Indian economy is doing very well at the moment, although there are some issues when it comes to inflation and other numbers. But I think not broadly, I think in the medium term, we are expecting that India is in a good position. So I am not sure what finance minister is going to do in the interim budget, but I expect that she will not do that kind of populism.
And even if today's interim budget also breaks with the convention, what are the major announcements that could be made?
I think something could be announced for the rural economy, because agriculture hasn't done well. Rural economy is trailing the urban economy. You could see some sort of social security measure or some welfare measure for the rural economy. That is likely. Beyond that, I don't see much.
In terms of some of the schemes, I think that there is a strong possibility that the government will increase the allocation in terms of the Kisan Samman Nidhi, which is being given, let us say, at about 6,000 rupees per farmer. And that amount may go up, and this will involve an additional, if it goes up, let us say, from 6,000 to 9,000, that this will involve an additional outlay of about 34,000 crore.
However, constitutional experts believe that it is not a good practice to make significant announcements regarding welfare programs and tax rates in the interim budget. But there is no specific provision in the constitution to prevent this from happening.
Normally, by concept, one should not expect the government of the day to utilize the interim budget for populistic policy measures. What happens if the same government doesn't come back? That then all the measures that are proposed in the interim budget will actually go it will not be implemented. So I think it will be fair enough for the government of the day not to utilize it. And if at all, if they do it, whatever the numbers that they are going to present in the interim budget will not be looked at seriously.
The ball is now in Finance Minister Sitharaman's court. Let us see if she walks the talk today.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
She has ambitions of becoming a brand. Business Standard.